Okay, hi everyone, welcome back. And in this update, we are going to check out Cardano, and specifically, we are going to talk about this part of the price action, and I'm going to tell you why am I right now still bullish in like very short term. But having said that, we should probably exercise caution. So first things first, if you remember the last time that we talked about ADA, we were around these areas, and the idea was that this might be a correction as structure down, and after we may get another move on the upside, especially because in this phase we are kind of able to find off of the lowest low a 5-wave up. However, there is a slight problem. You see, we said this move up happened way too fast, and as a result of it, I think we said in H1 time frame, especially, we created a very clear gap all the way down here between 85 to about 86 cents, and since I believe gaps 95+% of the time are going to get filled, well, okay, from my POV, made perfect sense to argue probably soon in ADA we are going to get a move down and fill this gap, and then we are going to make new updates and see where are we going to go from there. So what happened? As you can see, we did get our move on the downside. However, the structures in here, if you want to be optimistic, are a little bit up for debate. So the first important sign, this to me seems like that is actually a 5-wave impulsive structure up and not a correction. And why is this important? Because this may open the doors to having in Cardano an ABC zigzag starting from the recent lowest low, and in terms of the subwaves, okay, 5 up into a correction for wave B. Let's say ABC doesn't really matter a whole lot, and yet another impulse up into RC. Now let's go on the live chart. Okay, so we said it before, this is definitely a 5-wave up. If you want to say this is a correction down, then okay, essentially you are having the subwaves for an ABC zigzag, which sort of kind of got confirmed the moment that in ADA we took this important low down here about 88.8 cents. Now, do we have some more not necessarily optimistic signs? Unfortunately, the answer is yes. But before we talk about this move down, let's actually see what is going on in like very short term. So in my view, this seems to be quite a slow and choppy move on the upside, which is what? Yep, if you are a regular viewer, you know what I'm about to say. This is actually a characteristic of a corrective movement. And just to prove you that this is a very slow move, let's just measure it timing wise from the lows to about the current price action. As you can see, this move so far is taking us about 100, let's say, and 15 candlesticks. On the other hand, in only about 60 candles, we managed to have this strong move down. So what's the message? I'm going to argue, despite having way more than enough time, seems like that bulls are actually failing to push the price higher and higher to around these levels, meaning what? Bears do still have quite a bit of power, and odds are after this is over, or maybe even it's over already, we are going to have, unfortunately, another move down in Cardano. And the fact that in this specific phase down, we are absolutely able to find a beautiful one correction for wave 2, I'm gonna say probably an ABC flat, another move down into wave 3 correction for 4, and yet another move down into wave 5 doesn't necessarily help our bullish case. So what's the idea? I'm gonna say probably this is going to be a bearish setup according to my primary case, which I know saying it is a bit annoying, but here we are. I'm not here to just tell you we are going to go up 100% and at any given moment we are like absolutely bullish. No, if I see some bearish structures and not necessarily optimistic signs, I am going to show it to you so you can have a better view of what is going on currently in the market. And based on that, I'm gonna say this is 5 down, this is probably going to be a correction structure on the upside, and the next move is going to be another one down in order to take the lowest low down here about 82.2 cents for the first target, but you know, we may go even a bit lower than that. Now, in the interest of being objective and not overwhelmingly bearish, I am now going to talk about a potential bullish scenario, and that suggests, sure, this is a 5-wave down, however, it's actually going to be into the C leg of an ABC expanded flat to about this point, and since in here we are having a 5-wave on the upside, well, okay, maybe since at least right now we haven't taken the lows, this is going to be a wave 1 correction for 2, and what's next? let's say, big move up into wave 3, 4, 5. Do not get me wrong, this scenario can be in play. However, a lot, and I really mean it, a lot has to happen in order for me to talk bullish and talk about this scenario as my primary count with a bit more confidence. I think given the fact that we are having so far a slow move on the upside, we should be probably quite patient and careful. And if I see something like this, maybe this is going to be a 1, 2, and right now I see a very strong move up into wave 3, followed by a correction structure into wave 4, and yet another move on the upside into wave 5. You know what? Fair enough. At that point, I may change my tone a little bit. But as long as I'm not seeing that, I don't really believe that should be my primary case. As an alternate scenario, no problem at all. I think that can happen. However, again, for now at least, let's just exercise caution. And my final point, as you can see in here in ADA, now we are having a couple of lows very, very close together. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, let's say even 5 lows quite close together. And this is a bit of a problem. Why is that? You see, whenever you are having lows like this, around here, actually some short-term traders are going to open some long positions. And let's not say all of them, but most of them are actually going to put their stops under these lows in here. And well, unfortunately, the price has a tendency to destroy those people. So what is it that I'm trying to say? I'm trying to tell you, whenever you're having a couple of lows close together, sure, maybe you are going to see a short-term bounce, but then probably a move down in order to take them all and destroy those traders. And because we are having, in my view at least, something similar in ADA, I'm gonna say it. Maybe this move is going to continue for another 5 to 6%, but then expect a move down in order to break a lot of hearts. And maybe we're going to go to somewhere around at least the lower band of this region, about 79.5 cents. And then we are going to make new updates and see what is going on in ADA and what might be the next likely move. If I see a very strong bounce from here, it can be a very optimistic sign. If I see a very slow move up, okay, at that point, we should probably count on some more downward price action. And I hope I explained everything well and you understood what is going on in Cardano. And until the next update, I hope you have a wonderful time. Goodbye.